What's good, everybody? It's your boy Nate Dizzy. In today's video, I want to go over a few settings that you can change in Windows that are going to drastically improve your internet performance, specifically when it comes to gaming, but this will also help with other generalized internet things that require a very stable, good fast connection. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so what you're seeing here is my desktop, and I want to go ahead and show you real quick a super good way to test your internet connection. Now, most people would maybe use something like Ookla, which is pretty good for determining your base, like just your speed, and it looks like this. You've probably seen it before, but something that I love to use, which is a lot more useful in terms of determining how well your connection is running, is on a website called dslreports.com. And then if you want to go straight to the speed test, just hit /speed test. And what this is going to allow you to test is not only the speed of your connection, but it will also allow you to check things like the buffer bloat and the overall quality of the connection to and from. I'll explain a little bit more after I start the test. So just select whichever you're on. I'm on a cable connection, so I clicked cable. Now you're going to see a meter right here, and this is going to show the buffer bloat as the connection happens. You're going to see right here my buffer bloat immediately starts to spike into the red. It should be between 1,000 and 2,000 milliseconds, which means that there's 1 to 2 seconds of play in my download speed. Also, although it went up to about 180 download at one point, it dropped at a certain point down to 34, which is really weird. We pay for 185 basically. It's basically we pay for 180 10. So 180 download, 10 upload. Now we actually end up getting about 180 download, 12 upload, 12.5 upload, which is great. But as you'll see here, although well, in this case I didn't get my download speed, but although my upload speed was full, my download speed was full for most of the time. I get an F with the buffer bloat and an overall C quality. Now C, the quality is how many times data was having to be resent. Basically how often or how accurately it was transmitted, and the buffer bloat is how much latency there is and if there's any buffer issues with your connection. As you can see, this is a terrible score for my internet, and what prompted me to figure out these changes was that I tested my connection over Wi-Fi, and I had almost no buffer bloat, and I had excellent quality, and that was over Wi-Fi, and I'm using an Ethernet connection. So I was like, what the heck, there's got to be something wrong. So I looked into it more, and I found these answers. So what we're going to do is we're going to change some settings. Now I'm going to start with the one that is most important, the one that is going to probably make the most difference. It may not, but it probably will make the most difference. And that is you're going to be turning off your auto-tuning level. Windows added this at some point in time in the past, and it basically will tune the level of the transmit buffers, I think, to your connection, but it's actually really terrible, especially in my case. I don't have an old router or anything, but if you have an old router, that would be a reason. But my router does this, has QoS for download and upload, so the computer should be letting it do all that, and it's not, and it's fighting, and I'm guessing that's probably what the problem is. So what you're going to do is open a command prompt as an administrator. Now it's important you open it as an administrator because otherwise you won't have, your computer won't allow you to change anything. But you'll basically just search for it in the search bar, click run as administrator. It'll prompt you. It's prompting me right now. Do you want to allow this app to make changes? Hit yes. I want to go ahead and say that you can undo this. So do not freak out. This will not change anything massive. This will not cause any problems. Let's get this pulled back up. Okay, so once you've pulled up the command prompt, you're going to type in this command. You're going to type in, and I'll put it up on the screen, netshint tcp set global, and then auto tuning level equals disable. You're going to hit enter. The system will say, it'll say okay. I thought that was kind of funny. It'll be like okay, and then you can exit out of command prompt. And I'm not going to go back and test right now, but this will have basically gotten rid of the problem of the spiking buffer bloat. The quality will be better, but there's a couple more things you can change that will really kind of tune this even further to the point where you get a much better score. So we're going to go into that. What you're going to do is click your little computer network icon down here and go into your network and internet settings. Looks like this. You're going to go to change adapter options. Now, what you're going to do here is click this. You can either right click it and go to properties, or you can click it and go to change settings of this connection. You're going to go to configure. You're going to go to advanced. Well, yeah, you're going to go to advanced, and you're going to go down this list of things, and you're going to turn some things off and change some values and things like that. So the first thing we're going to do is, okay, if you have adaptive interframe spacing, disable it. Disable PME. Disable energy efficient Ethernet. What that is, basically it allows you to use less power, but that's not your goal. Your goal is to have the best connection possible, so turn that off. Now you're going to turn off flow. You're going to disable flow control for both RX and TX. You're going to turn off interrupt moderation, and the interrupt moderation rate should be off as well. You're going to turn off anything that says offload, because this basically is offloading connection packets, I believe, and you don't want that happening. If it drops one, you want it to just drop it and move on. You don't want it to or if it gets overwhelmed, you want it to just drop those extras, because you want it to be working at its maximum, possible abilities. Leave most of this stuff alone. Packet priority and VLAN you want to disable, because packet priority is handled by other things. You don't need Windows to do it. Again, turn off all offload. Anything that says offload, disable. Your receive buffers, leave. Disable receive side scaling. Disable reduce speed on power down. Leave speed and duplex on auto negotiation. If you know what connection you're supposed to have, you can set it, but auto negotiation will handle it just fine. Again, disable all offloads. Leave transmit buffers. Disable offloads. There's like 6 offload options, or maybe 8. Ultra low power mode, disable. And you can leave the rest. Now, before you exit out of this, go over to power management and unclick allow computer to turn this device off to save power. This will prevent you from having issues when you sleep your computer and bring it back up. I have issues where I'll have slight bumps in buffer bloat, or downgrades in connection because it's turning off and then it's not fully coming back up, or something like that. That's my guess. Again, I'm no professional. Now you're going to hit OK. The connection will disconnect for a minute and it should reconnect. Now we'll get into a minute. If you want to know how to undo all this, if you've done it and you haven't watched the whole video, I'll get into that in the end. I'll probably put a notation earlier in the video so people know, so that they don't get mad at me, go straight to the comments. I'm telling you how to undo this at the end of the video. So now you can close out of this, and we're going to go and we're going to retest on DSL reports and see what we get. So again, we'll select cable. I've done no changes. Again, dslreports.com/speedtest. And we'll go ahead and allow the test to run. Now, if everything was done correctly, we should see a vast improvement in the score. Just go ahead and watch this here. We did have a spike there, 267. It does happen, especially at these higher download rates. For me, if it's down lower, it happens less. But as you can see, I got my full 180 roughly megabit per second download. Now it's going to upload, and we're staying under 20 milliseconds of buffer bloat on upload roughly. It will peak at the end. I think it's because it does more complex tasks at the end. I could be wrong. But we'll basically see the max buffer bloat of a connection to the internet. As you can see, my connection is improved drastically. We have an A+ in overall, we have an A in buffer bloat, and we have an A+ in quality. This is fantastic. Gaming will feel 1,000 times better if you're having the same issues as me. I've always wondered what the heck was going on with my computer, because I have a GTX 1060 and I have an i5-7600K, which is a 4-core. I have it at like 4.6 gigahertz processor, so it's by no means, it's a mid-range system. It's by no means like a high-end system, but it's definitely a good system. Gigabit connection, you know, plenty of download and upload speed, and I had laggy issues. The download connection, even if it's super fast, if you have quality issues, if you have buffer bloat issues, it's going to make your gaming suck. It's going to make it so that your opponents are not where they're supposed to be. Your upload is important when it comes to basically the game knowing where you are, and the download is important for your game knowing where your opponents are. So this is going to make everything, it really does make a huge difference. I always try to make videos like that. I don't make a video unless it's absolutely like amazing, because there's so much crap out there. So, but yeah, so let's go back real quick and I'll show you how to undo this if you had a problem. So if this caused any issue, if this disconnected you from your network, if anything like that happened, let's go ahead and get into how you do that. So I'm just going to exit out of there. Now, first off, if you want to undo the first thing we did, which was to change the auto tuning level off, you're going to, again, bring up a command prompt as an administrator. Hit yes. All right, so once you have the command prompt up as an admin, what you're going to do is you're going to type in the same command from earlier, but you're just going to change one thing. It's netsh interface. No, it's int tcp set global auto tuning level, one word, and I'm going to put all this in the description, equals, and then you're going to hit normal. I'm not going to do this because I want my settings to stay good, but this is how you turn this setting back. This will not hurt anything. It will most likely improve your connection drastically. This is the big one for me. If I just do this one, I didn't address that. If I just do this alone, turning this off, I stop having the giant explosions and buffer bloat. It brings it all back, and the other things are for fine tuning. They basically take the connection from an A or A B plus A to an A plus A plus. So that's kind of how, you know, these things, like in terms of what will help more, that's how they kind of stack up. Now, if you want to undo the other things that we did, just go to network and internet settings right here. Just scroll down to network reset, and once you hit network reset, I'm not going to do it. It will prompt you. It'll say yes or no, and you'll hit yes, and then leave your computer. It'll take about 5 minutes. It will restart, and everything will be set as if it's brand new, and you're good to go if this caused any problems. I will say there's certain of these things that you don't have to turn off. If you want to leave like energy efficient Ethernet on and things like that, that's perfectly fine. If you want to leave the power management settings the way they are, that's perfectly fine. But as I said, if you sleep your computer and you come back to it a lot, basically if you don't turn your computer off every time you're done, then you're going to want to turn those off, because otherwise it's going to turn it off and turn it back on, and that rebooting of the Ethernet controller is going to cause issues when you go to game afterwards. That's why I turn mine off, because I constantly come back to and from my computer. So that's about it for this video. Hopefully this helped you. If it did, give me a like down there and subscribe for more content. Right now I've been taking a break from Fortnite. That's why I know videos have come out, because I'm really hating where they're taking the game. I've not been having fun with it. I've been playing Apex Legends over on twitch.com/NateDizzy, or twitch.tv/NateDizzy, and yeah, so check me out over there. If you have any questions or concerns, or you think I am really messing up by putting out this video, or if you really messed up your computer by following the instructions of this video, let me know in the comments. I'll see if I can help you. None of this is in any way dangerous for your computer, so you should not have messed up your computer. There are other ways to do this stuff, but it is more dangerous. I don't want you messing with your registry, so I'm not going to tell you to do that. All this is like open options, and you can undo it. With that being said, catch you next time. Nate Dizzy, out.